Once upon a time, in a Hollywood kingdom far too obsessed with its own reflection, Rachel Zegler, 23-year-old Latina starlet, with a voice like spun, gold-stepped into the glass slippers of Snow White. Not the Snow White of 1937, mind you, that docile damsel who hummed with woodland creatures and swooned for a prince. No, this was March 2025, and Zegler's Snow White was a warrior, a leader, a middle finger to tradition. And oh, how the world erupted. Disney's live-action remake, released just days ago on the 21st of March, had barely hit theaters before the pitchforks came out, the hashtags flared, and the internet crowned her the queen of an epic fail. Was it her fault? Was it the romancier lack thereof? Or was it simply that she dared to touch a sacred relic and make it her own? Buckle up, because this tale is as twisted as the poisoned apple itself. It all began 3 years earlier, in the sweltering summer of 2022, when Zegler, fresh off West Side Story, sat down for an interview that would haunt her like a vengeful dwarf. She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love, she declared, her brown eyes flashing with defiance. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. The words landed like a thunderclap. To some, it was a feminist rallying cry. To others, a declaration of war on a childhood icon. Snow White, the fairest of them all, reduced to a girl boss? The comment sections ignited. "Disney's ruining everything," cried one user, racking up thousands of likes. "She's spitting on the original," wailed another. Zegler doubled down, smirking as she called the 1937 prince a stalker and the old story weird. The gauntlet was thrown. Cue the casting backlash, a storm that had been brewing since her announcement in 2021. Snow White, the girl with skin white as snow, was now embodied by a woman of Colombian and Polish descent. "She doesn't even look the part," screamed the purists, clutching their sepia-toned memories. Never mind that Zegler's talent was undeniable. Her soprano could shatter glass, her screen presence magnetic. To the detractors, this was cultural sacrilege, a betrayal of Grimm's fairy tale purity. Disney, ever the tightrope walker, stood by their star, but the whispers grew louder. Woke White was trending before a single frame was shot. Fast forward to production, where whispers turned to shouts. Leaked set photos showed Zegler in armor, wielding a sword, her 7 dwarfs reimagined as a ragtag band of outcasts, not all short, not all male. The purists howled louder. "This isn't Snow White, it's some dystopian knockoff." One ex-post raged, shared 10,000 times. Then came the romancier, the supposed lack of it. Zegler had hinted that Prince Charming was out, replaced by a commoner named Jonathan, played by Andrew Burnap. "It's not about romance," she teased in a 2024 press junket. "It's about her journey." Fans of the classic swooned in despair. Where was the kiss to wake her? The horse-drawn happily ever after? The internet churned with memes. Zegler's face photoshopped onto a "No Boys Allowed" sign, captioned, "Snow White's epic fail." But here's the twist. The romance wasn't gone, just reshaped. Jonathan wasn't a prince sweeping in to save the day. He was a scrappy rebel, a partner in crime. Their chemistry crackled in trailers, a slow burn of stolen glances and battlefield banter. Zegler's Snow White didn't need rescuing, she chose her allies, her destiny. Yet the narrative had already calcified. She'd killed the fairy tale, stripped it of its magic. Disney's pandering to the woke mob, one critic sneered, conveniently ignoring that the original Snow White was a product of its own time, to a 1930s fantasy of domestic bliss. The 21st of March, 2025, arrived, and the film dropped like a bomb. Theaters buzzed, but the box office stuttered $50 million opening weekend, a far cry from Disney's usual juggernauts. Critics were split down the middle. "A bold reimagining," cheered Variety, praising Zegler's fiery performance. "A soulless cash grab," spat the Post, lamenting the loss of whimsy. On X, the war raged on. Rachel Zegler, ruined Snow White, trended alongside clips of her singing, "Someday My Prince Will Come," with a feminist twist, ironic, biting, brilliant. Her defenders fired back. "She's the best part of this mess. one stan tweeted, attaching a gif of Zegler slaying a CGI beast. The numbers didn't lie. Thou audiences were lukewarm, and the epic fail label stuck like tar. Behind the scenes, Zegler wasn't blind to the chaos. She'd faced worse death threats after West Side Story, racist trolls since day one. "I'm not here to please everyone," she told Vogue last week, her chin high. "I'm here to tell a story." And tell it she did. Her Snow White was raw, real, a girl who clawed her way out of a coffin, not with a kiss, but with sheer will. The romance with Jonathan? Subtle, messy, human. No ballads, no crowns, just two souls finding each other in a world gone mad. It was beautiful, if you squinted past the controversy. But beauty didn't sell tickets, and the internet didn't forgive. The dwarfs, companions, as Disney called them, became their own lightning rod. CGI heavy and diverse, they ranged from a grizzled warrior woman to a wisecracking thief. "Where's Doc? Where's Grumpy?" fans demanded. The answer blended into a new mythos, one that traded slapstick for grit. It worked in Flash's Zegler's rapport with them shone, but the purists saw red. They turned Snow White into Lord of the Rings. One X-rant exploded, complete with side-by-side stills of Dopey and his rugged replacement. Disney's gamble on realism over cartoon charm felt like a misstep to many. And then there was the apathy iconic bite. In this version, it wasn't poison that felled her, but betrayal, a twist that had Zegler's Snow White waking not to a prince, but to her own rage. "Too dark," cried the traditionalists. "Genius," countered the avant-garde. The climax saw her storm the queen's castle, Jonathan at her side, a sword in her hand and vengeance in her eyes. It was epic. Yes, but an epic. Fail to those who wanted fairy dust, not blood. As the dust settles on the 26th of March, 2025, the tale of Rachel Zegler's Snow White is still unfolding. The box office may climb, yet word of mouth could save it, or sink it deeper. X remains a battlefield. She's a disgrace versus she's a queen. The romance, once the heart of the story, is now a footnote in the culture war. Zegler herself? She's unbowed, posting a cryptic Instagram story yesterday. A photo of her in costume captioned, "Fairest? Maybe not. Fiercest? Always." Her fans roared. Her haters seethed. So, was it an epic fail or a misunderstood masterpiece? The numbers say one thing, the passion says another. Disney's bet on a new Snow Whitea Latina firebrand. With no prince to lean on may haunt them financially, but it's etched Zegler into legend. Love her or loathe her, she rewrote the fairy tale, and the world will never stop arguing about it. In the end, perhaps that's the truest happily ever after, a story that refuses to fade quietly into the night. And there you have it, the saga of Rachel Zegler's Snow White, a fairy tale turned battlefield where heroism and heresy collide. Is she the fearless trailblazer who dared to shatter the glass coffin of tradition, or the heretic who torched a beloved classic? The box office says flop, the internet says fight, and Zegler says she's here to stay fierce, unapologetic, and etched into Hollywood's chaotic lore. Love her or hate her, one thing's undeniable. This Snow White won't fade into the shadows anytime soon. So, what's your take? Drop it in the comments, Heroine or Heretic. Hit that like button if you're still reeling from this wild ride. And share this video with anyone who needs to pick a side. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash that bell icon so you never miss a story this explosive. Until next time, keep questioning the fairy tales because the truth is messy happily ever after.